do this every year at the bye. Get to sit down with the quarterback.
Yeah.
Got a new hat.
You like it?
Yeah, I do. I like the old style trucker hat.
I do. It is.
Reminds me of Seabass from Something About Mary, right?
I know. You know what? It's kind of a little knock on the NASA hat that's pretty popular these days. So
NASA hat, I think, sells pretty well.
Yeah, it does.
Hopefully that'll keep selling.
It's a good one.
Give me a state of your team right now at the bye. We do this every year at the bye.
Yeah. Well, I think, hasn't all been perfect, but 8-1. I don't think anybody's going to complain about that. I think our entire season is determined by what happens from this point on. So, we've had our ups and downs. Certainly our defense has been playing great. And, offensively, I think hopefully we can get some continuity and grow and learn and, become the version that we'd all expect ourselves to become. So I'm excited for what's ahead. I think every year it's a little different path. You never know which way it's going to go. You have high expectations every year. Certainly here, we have very high expectations. But we're ready to kind of attack the second half of the year and see if we can put together our best football.
I think I know you pretty well. Watch your games, call your games. We talk about you all week. Your team was 8-0 prior to the last game. And there are times where you could not feel a little resistance for you to be like, we're not where we want to be yet. People on the outside look at this and say, what is he, crazy? He's undefeated. But you mentioned expectations. Those are personal things you have set for yourself, right? As far as how you want to operate, how you want to be part of it.
Yeah, I think there's one thing I have, it's some experience to know what championship level team looks like, feels like. We have other coaches who have been around that long. I've been around for 20 years, so I think you're always trying to push the urgency because you're not trying to compete to go 8-8.
Right.
You're trying to compete for the highest accolades this team can achieve, and that's become the best we can possibly be. So I think when we're less than that, I feel it. Everyone, I think the responsibility of the veteran players to stress that because there's a lot of guys who are new to the team, and you're trying to get them to understand what level it takes on a weekly basis, not just in practice but in the games as well, to continue to improve, continue to make the strides you need to make because you realize as the season goes, it just gets tougher, and you've got to be able to improve as you go deeper and you play better teams and the games mean more.
It's interesting you bring that up, the new guys, because they weren't here last year. Look at the road games that you guys lost. Look at the struggles you had.
Yeah.
The identity you didn't find till the end of the year, and that's a championship run you guys went on.
Yeah.
So that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think it's every year, again, there's a lot of turnover. You lose guys on offense. You lose guys on defense. You deal with injuries. You deal with attrition that sets in. Every team does it. It's really who deals with that the best is the team that has ultimately the best outcome.
Speaking of injuries, how you feeling?
I'm doing great.
Feel good?
Yeah, I feel really good. As good as you could feel this time of year. You get hit a little bit here and there, little bumps and bruises, but it's hard to keep me out.
Yeah.
I love being in there with my guys, so going to try to hang in there as long as I can.
Speaking of not being able to keep guys out of the lineup, there's a guy who wears number 11. And 3rd and 4, everybody, we're on the road, stadium's rocking. You're going to him. The defense knows they're going to him. Everybody in the stadium knows you're going to him, but yet nobody can stop him. How impressive is he for you on 3rd down and what he's been able to do? Yeah,
he's had a great season. Dealt, certainly. He is a brand of football that I think everyone back here, fans of our team, appreciate. He's a hard-nosed grinder. He's got a chip on his shoulder. Really an overachiever, and that's how he plays. And the nastier, the worse the conditions, the dirtier it is, the better he performs. And I rely on him so much, and he's just had an incredible season thus far. You've been here for 20. He was drafted 10 years ago.
Yeah. So if I go back to you 10 years ago, Tom Brady, halfway through this great run, hey, Julian Edelman is going to be knocking on the door of Jerry Rice, postseason stats, one of the greatest postseason receivers, greatest regular season receivers of all time. What would you say about Edelman 10 years ago?
I don't think anyone would have believed that. Not because of him, the person, he just hadn't shown it. Was a quarterback. He grew up in the Bay Area, went to college at San Mateo, 2 minutes from my house, ended up going to Kent State, drafting him as a punt returner, and then he's just had an incredible career. And just finding him and watching him grow, watching him evolve as a player, as a person, as a leader. I love my relationship with him, so proud of him. And, he's just been an incredible teammate and player and friend.
How good of an example is he for the young guys in the room?
He's great. Not, you know, I mean, really for the whole team.
And new guys like Sanu, and I will get to Sanu.
Yeah, I think he's you know, everything you look for in a player, and I think you need guys that can really set the tone. And I think with Julian, you know, it's his toughness, it's his fighting for the extra yards, it's getting the ball in the end zone against Cleveland a few weeks ago on 2 scramble plays where he could go down at the 1, and then, you know, you're not guaranteed to get those ones in, but fights across the goal line, you know, and certain plays like that where it's a physical, mental mentality that allows you to, you know, continue to overachieve.
Speaking of Sanu, returned a couple punts. We actually didn't return them. Did a good job saying Peter.
Yeah.
But a couple targets to him, and you could see how he has gotten, I don't want to say, into the offense for 2 weeks, but looked pretty good this past week. How do you like your new toy?
He's done a great job. I mean, anytime someone's forced in you know, a short period of time,
it's hard, man.
It's really hard to learn an entire offense that most guys are starting in March and then installing and picking up these things. And every team has nuances. I certainly have a way that I like the receivers to play. So it's hard to get someone up to speed in a very short period of time. But he's done everything we could expect and more. And, you know, him having the targets the other night, making the plays, not only his hands, his run after catch, his toughness. We're definitely going to have some fun working together here the second half of the year as he gets more comfortable and confident what we're doing, and we gain, you know, more of a kind of a shared vision of how we see things. You know, I think our chemistry is going to keep improving.
And I think your offense too, and the way you expect guys to run routes, it's so precise here. And I remember watching him in Atlanta where, okay, if there's a zone, I'll just round into it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard for new guys. And a guy like, you know, N'Keal Harry, rookie receiver, and you know, you miss reps and stuff. Your whole receiver room, what do you make of your receiver room? And it's changed over the course of not summer training, but you go back to camp, you go back to where you are now at the bye. It's different bodies in there.
Yeah, we've had a lot of turnover, you know, at that position, dating back to last year, the spring, training camp.
You're used to that.
It's just part of what it is, and I think you've got to be able to deal with those things. And it could happen a lot of different ways, you know. I mean, everything could be great, and then someone gets injured. I mean, we deal with that every year too. So, you know, I think at this point now, you know, we've got the group we got. I think guys are learning and establishing their roles, and we're going to try to go make the most of those as we move forward.